How do you want to die? Very cheery little subject matter today. I apologize again for the fan, but it's 38 degrees outside, so therefore it is hot inside, and I can't survive without it right now, so hopefully you can hear me despite it, and it doesn't bother you too much. If it does, then peace. So this subject matter kind of just got brought to my attention today. I thought of it today because of a bike ride that I had yesterday, and I was thinking about it and this happened last night. Yeah, I thought about it last night. I'm making the video today. That's what happened. So, where do we start? As you already know, probably, if you've watched a handful of conversations and or vlogs, or know why I even started doing vlogging and stuff like that, I have this fear of mortality. It ties in with my anxiety, and I don't like thinking about death. I haven't accepted that as a reality because I'm never going to die, in case you didn't know that. So I just have a really difficult time with that whole concept, with eternal life, with there's nothing after death. Both of those things are equally screwed up to me, so there's no consolation in believing in any of those things. And yeah, so anyway, that's a short intro to where we're at, and or where I'm at and where I've been for a while. But yesterday I went on this bike ride, and so I was kind of going on a new trail, and then it led me to this other trail, and I was like, sure, why not? Let's just go and just explore today. And I found this beautiful, beautiful space. There's this like babbling brook, this like stream running through the coulees. There's birds chirping. Like, I actually stopped and really took it in for a little bit, which I don't really do when I'm riding my bike very often, and it was just gorgeous. Then later on I went home, eating supper late, decided I was going to watch some stand-up comedy, some Mark Maron, and there was some stuff he was talking about there where he was speaking about death and mortality and life and anxiety and all these things, and then it started to just kind of work its way into my brain, and I started thinking about it, not in a really anxious way, but I was just thinking about it. And I posed the question to a group of friends through a Facebook chat that we have, a group chat going on, and I was like, hey, how do you want to die? Like, that was just, how do you want to die? That's it. And I realized that in that conversation, or just question and answers, really, or just the question and them answering it, that day, yesterday, was the first time when I had ever thought about dying where I felt like I didn't want to die with somebody else. And I don't mean they had to die too. What I mean is that for a long time, I always thought, if I'm going to die, I need somebody beside me. Like a significant other, I would need them to be there. That would be the ideal way to die. And then when I was, like, this whole combination of things, I realized, where I was yesterday, just, like, nobody around, and I was just in nature, completely, like, there was no people, there was no cars and buildings and construction, no sign of man other than, like, the dirt trail, because we ride through there and jog there or whatever else, that was so beautiful and calm and peaceful, and I was like, wow, I could just have died right there. Not saying like I would have been okay with dying at this age there, but I just mean, like, if that was the scenario, I think it would have been okay. Like, assuming I had accepted death, and I'm getting way too far ahead of myself, but just the fact that I was there alone in this beautiful, beautiful place, I felt calm, it felt wonderful, it was just beautiful, and I felt okay with being alone in that, like, moment, and I translated that into, well, what if I were to die? Like, I would be okay with dying alone, I guess. And that's the first time I've ever had that thought, like, where I would be okay with dying alone. And I don't think I have accepted death at all any more than I did a month ago or a year ago or whatever. But I think that I just maybe reframed the question in my mind, or I don't know what, but I was like, oh, well, assuming that I do have an acceptance of death by the time I'm going to die, which would hopefully be when I'm like 800 years old or something, that I assuming by that time, in my old age, that I am mentally aware and still somewhat physically able, and even if I had a significant other or something else, like, I think that hopefully I would be accepting of death at that point. And if I was accepting of it, then I think an ideal way to go would not be with a significant other, because I think that would just make me sad. Unless we were both dying together, like, in the exact same moment, and we both knew it, and whatever else, then that would be a weird coincidence and not very realistic, but that might be okay. But I think it would just make me sad to think of, like, oh, I'm dying and leaving them behind. And I just thought, like, if I was in this beautiful, like, what if I'm still ripping trails at 80, like, which probably not, but if I was in an environment like that, like in the coulees, like in a beautiful, on a mountainside or something, I don't know. And if I could just, like, fade out, like if I was like, oh, I'm dying, I'm having a soft heart attack or something, I don't know, where it wasn't painful, but I was aware, like, oh, this is ending now. I got like 5 minutes and I'm just gonna fade away and just be there alone, just immersed in just the beauty of life and this planet and whatever. That would be, I think, the most ideal way to go. For me, at this point in my life, which, I'm hopefully not even halfway done my life, even though I feel like I've been having a midlife crisis for years. I think that's kind of the way. That's ideal. I mean, that's just something that I learned yesterday through conversation and kind of wanted to share and just kind of talk about it a little more, because, I always had this thought of, like, I want to be with somebody else, a significant other, someone who loves me, whatever. I've talked before in vlogs and a conversation about family and death, that, like, what's going to happen? I'm not going to have kids, and who's going to be there to take care of me, and blah, 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 blah. And I don't know why I think it's still, like, a societal thing that's bludgeoned into me that I need that. Like, I'm really aware, like, I'm past the point of feeling like I need kids. Like, that societal expectation is out the window. I don't need kids. That I don't need to be validated by having kids, whatever. But for some reason I keep thinking, like, I'm not going to be okay in my age without having someone to take care of me or something. Which, I mean, just the way that we're structured in old folks' homes and government stuff, and I don't know, like, without any family around, especially kids, and that might be difficult, but maybe that'll be my reality and I face that, and I don't know. Who knows what the world is going to look like in 30 years from now, even 10 years from now. Things change at such a rapid pace anyway. But yeah, like I said, I posed the question to my friends, and I pose it to you now. Even if you don't respond, because you probably won't, but I mean, feel free to make some type of response, because I'm really curious as to how you would ideally like to die if you had a choice, right? Something semi-realistic would be cool, instead of being like, I want to be shot into space, and in like, I don't know, maybe that's going to be realistic later, but like I said, I posed the question to friends, and they gave me some answers and things to dwell on. And this isn't a subject I like talking about or dwelling on, but it's one of those things that even though I don't like thinking or talking about it, and talking about it makes me think about it more, it's something that was on my mind. And for the first time in a long time, like, I don't feel anxious right now talking about it, which is weird. And like I said, I don't think I'm any closer to accepting death, because I'm never going to die. But I just don't feel as anxious talking about it at this very second. I don't feel doom at all. I don't feel that dread and sickness inside me when I get really anxious and think about mortality and things of that nature. That's not happening right now, so I feel pretty okay. I don't know why it's not happening, but that's fine. But I would love to hear some answers. Leave them in the comments or find some other way to respond. I think it'd be really cool just to kind of know what people think about that. Or again, maybe it's just a question that you sit with. What, for some reason, think about that. What would be the ideal way for you to die? When? That's the other thing too. I people in the chat, or group chat, I was like, hey, I need more specifics than that. Like, what are you going to be doing? How old are you going to be? Like, whatever else. And some people gave me specifics that I didn't even think of, or whatever else. I don't know. It's just a question to ponder on and to be challenged by. And that's where I'm at right now with death and dying and mortality and never dying. So Well, I thought I was ending that video, but you know what? I felt really unsatisfied. I felt like there was more that I could say. Because I'm trying to think, I don't know, this is usually what happens in a conversation is that I work it out, an external process and all that stuff, right? But I already kind of worked it out with other people, and I just still thought, oh, there's more I can get out of that later, and then I realized, oh, I guess not, but there totally is. And what I was kind of missing there was, I think, like, I started thinking about why do I want to be in nature? And this is a recent development that I've come to really appreciate, like nature in the aspect of like trees and being outdoors and wildlife, I guess, that type of nature. I've only come to really appreciate that in the past year and a half. Living in Lethbridge has really brought that out of me, and it's not like I'm some crazy outdoorsman now, but I mean, it's all because of biking, really. I mean, if I didn't have biking, I don't know if I would do any hiking or not, but maybe I would, because now I'm kind of like, I really enjoy being out there. On my bike ride today, I actually went to the same area, just did the trail in reverse, and then later on, as I was hiking with my bike back up to the city, because I couldn't really climb, I was too exhausted, I found a park bench, and I just sat there, and it was overlooking the coulees, and I meditated for the first time in months, and it was amazing. It was like 60-second meditation. It was like nothing, and it did so much for me, and I've come to appreciate nature so much. I don't know why I didn't bring these things up in the earlier conversation. Just, I've taken for granted my own knowledge about myself, that I don't really have a huge spiritual belief. Like, I don't have any specific religion that I'm tied to at all. I don't have any specific concrete thoughts or beliefs, I should say, in a god of some nature or a supreme being or what have you. That's not really a part of that. And I guess when we're talking about mortality and death, that's usually a huge thing. So it's weird that I completely glossed over that, didn't even think of it. But I don't really have any of that stuff. And maybe that's part of what scares me. But more and more and more, I'm not necessarily coming into like nihilist perspectives or anything. And some people are really comforted by those thoughts, I guess, and nihilist. I guess some people are comforted by those foundations of nihilism or the properties of what help build up and define nihilism. But I don't really think I'm there either, and I don't have this thing of like, oh, I'm just going to return to the earth. Like, I'm not really anywhere with any of that. I haven't figured any of that out, maybe because I haven't spent time doing it, because that would make me anxious to spend time thinking about it. But I am just, I don't know, again, with the nature thing, it was just like, I just felt so beautiful and comfortable in my aloneness. But maybe I didn't feel alone because I'm like, yeah, there's birds chirping, I saw a snake earlier, I've seen deer in those parts many times. Like, there's probably gophers running around and rabbits I've seen there before. Like, I didn't feel desolation. I didn't feel complete. I didn't feel lonely. And that's a thing I'm really scared of a lot, is loneliness. So, and I guess that's one reason I thought, oh, I always needed to die with my significant other there to, like, hold my hand and whatever, because I didn't want to feel alone. And in that moment, I didn't feel alone, which is, like, again, I don't know 100% whatever, why, but I mean, I just didn't feel alone. That, like, it's all tied with everything, probably endorphins and exercise and riding my bike and being outdoors and vitamin D and sunshine, I don't know, and animal life and whatever, wildlife in general, and just the sheer aesthetic beauty of where I was. So it's not like this further analysis of why do I want to be, it doesn't have to be that specific spot. It just, I think that if I was in nature just on a beautiful day, just enjoying what the world has to offer, I don't know, it's this weird optimistic positive thing. It's like uncomfortable with any of those notions. I don't know why, or putting myself into those categories, because I'm generally not that type of person, and I'm not like this crazy environmentalist. I think that we should take care of the planet, blah, 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 blah. I'm not doing my part in the way that some people are, for sure, and other things I'm very environmentally conscious about because they're easy and convenient. Anyway, so that's not it either. It's not like the spiritual connection with nature, but I think I'm having a human connection with nature, if that makes sense. More and more and more, like, as I get outside and enjoy my surroundings and have a relationship with nature. Now, this is, I guess, one way I have a relationship with the city. I mean, when I was living in Saskatoon and I was tagging all the time and doing graffiti and vandalism, that was my relationship with the city then. I didn't have a relationship with nature, and now I do. And for some reason, that is making me just change in a way that's more profound than I ever thought. And that relates to like, oh, I want to die in nature. I want to die within these natural elements that are beautiful. And maybe it's just because I'm getting soft in my old age. I don't know. But I wanted to further kind of explain that I don't know exactly what it is 100%, because it's not this and it's not. I know what it's not, but I don't know exactly why this shift has happened. I don't think it was just because I had a great ride yesterday and that's like, I really think that shifted, like the combination of the things made me rethink this question, and reframe it, and then my context now and who I am now is different than the last time I thought of how do I want to die when I die. And I think usually I push that thought away too. So I didn't I guess kind of embraced the question and the challenge of it this time, and came up with this answer that I feel really strongly about. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon, if maybe ever. Again, love to hear your thoughts on how you'd like to die. That sounds like a really weird phrase. I want to hear your thoughts. How would you like to die? I'm really curious. But for some reason, at this second, I feel okay talking about it. So anyway, see you on another time for another conversation.